Hi, I'm Alex MacPherson with the Saskatoon StarPhoenix.
And I'm the Leader-Post, Dave Fraser.
And this week we're going to talk about the three most pressing questions in Saskatchewan politics. Question number 1. At what point will the Saskatchewan Party have no choice but to address the GTH scandal?
To be determined, I think, is the answer to that. We don't know whether or not charges are going to be laid in the matter. We now know that the RCMP investigation has been wrapped up. We know that Manitoba prosecutors are reviewing it, and we know that Saskatchewan Party leadership hopefuls are hearing about it a lot. They're not hearing about it in the debates that the Saskatchewan Party has had to this point. They have to address it at some point. When? We'll have to wait to see what happens with prosecutions, I think.
That might be it, but the Sask Party's had five debates so far between the leadership hopefuls. Hasn't come up except peripherally, and there doesn't appear to be any appetite in the party at the moment to address this. At the same time, though, when do you have no choice? Manitoba prosecutors are looking at it, which suggests the Justice Department here is convinced it warrants a second opinion. If criminal charges come down, it could leave the party holding a bigger problem than it would have been had it addressed this right off the hop. Question number 2. Have the Sask Party candidates put forward decent plans to win urban seats, which is going to be key to holding on to their majority in 2020? This is a really interesting question. The Sask Party has lost 2 recent urban by-elections in Saskatoon, and we haven't heard much in the way of, or in the form of a concrete plan to win back urban seats and arrest the slide that's been happening. I mean, we heard last night from the candidates that they want to engage young people and get young people interested in politics. That's going to be key in fairly young urban centers. But nobody's really put forward a way to do that, especially as, on the other hand, we see the Sask Party shifting more and more towards what's seen as its rural base that is very distinct from the cities. It doesn't appear to me that there is a plan.
It's worth noting that at the recent Saskatchewan Party convention, there is a fairly large contingent of young Sask Party members in attendance, and I never want to discount young people getting involved in politics, but at the same time, when you're trying to win urban seats, you need those young people in your party, and whether or not the contingents of young people in the Saskatchewan Party can translate into urban votes, I'm not exactly sure, because of course it's more than just young people living in cities. And as you know, they've lost 2 seats in recent by-elections in urban seats, and when issues like abortion come up, if they thought they were going to have a tough time winning in urban Saskatchewan, I've said this before, when issues like that pop back to the forefront, it's going to make that battle a lot harder.
Question number 3. Ryan Miley has a massive fundraising lead in the Sask NDP leadership race. What does that mean? Can the outsider who's lost previously come back and win this thing?
The longer this race goes on, the more I'm starting to like the way that Ryan Miley is approaching it, the money being a big part of that. We talked a bit in our previous video about how money isn't everything in politics, but it does play a pretty significant role. And with Mr. Miley taking a fairly significant lead over Trent Weatherspoon, that's important. It's important to note, and you can look at other things like Facebook likes. Again, it's not a real indication or a real scientific indication of how somebody is doing, but the fact that Ryan Miley has a significant better following on his social media as opposed to Trent Weatherspoon, it's starting to look pretty good at this point for Ryan Miley. Still early though, lots of race left to run.
I agree with you, Dave, but I also think he's got some pretty significant challenges to overcome. Big positive is that he has a lot of individual donors. People are actually ponying up and giving him cash, and that is a significant thing in politics. It's not the end-all be-all, but if you've got a lot of people giving you money, you've probably tapped into something. At the same time, though, he lacks caucus support. It seems that the fairly small NDP caucus is coalescing around Weatherspoon. Whether that translates into support at the convention next year remains to be seen, but certainly if you have a bunch of elected members on your side, as Scott Moe does in the Sask Party leadership race, that counts for something because those people are visible, they're well known in their particular constituencies, and they have a lot of clout.
Thanks for joining us again this week. We hope to be back again next week doing these videos.
And next week, we want to answer your questions. So if you have a burning question about either party's leadership race or Saskatchewan politics, leave it in the comments on Facebook or email us, and we will do our best to answer your questions in the coming weeks as these races come down to the wire. Thanks again for watching.